How you doing, everybody? My name is Monochromium, and this is Mass Effect. Yeah! I can't really say this one's been a long time coming, because I only first played this series in August of last year, but, basically since I started playing it, I've wanted to do a playthrough of at least the first game here. I eventually want to do the whole trilogy. I'm just not sure if I'm doing them all in a row yet, but I'm really excited to get this started. This is actually my second take on this first episode because I didn't like how the commentary went for the last session, because I basically did a 2.5 hour session and the commentary just started dragging at the end. Like, it was bad. So this part is gonna be a little bit rehashed for me, but I'm gonna try to keep it fresh and make sure that it's not really nothing that I did in the last part affects what I'm doing now. So, first and foremost, once the screen loads here, I'm playing on PS3, so it's a little bit, the loading screens can be a little bit long, I guess you could say. First things first, let's start a new career with, well, as we'll find out shortly, the Alliance.
Welcome to Alliance Military Database. Classified information requested.
I always like this intro, even if it is a little drawn out. It just gives you that feeling like you're, like, you know, what's that one ride in Epcot at Disney World? Is it Mission Space? I forget, but it makes you feel like you're actually in the game, you know, it's very immersive to start. Let's connect to the database. Remember, nothing you see here can be taken out to the public anymore.
Secure connection
because it's all classified information, so... no, I don't know who this John Shepard person is, but our Shepard is going to be a female.
Please log in to access
and
your
her name is not Jane. It is going to be, and I think it should show up because of my first take being there, the first take being there already. Yep, right there. Ours is going to be named Vanessa Shepard. No real reason for the name, just thought it sounded good, so... It seems even in the future, computers can't just boot up what you need instantly.
Warning, data corruption detected.
Oh, come on, man.
Please reconstruct profile.
I swear to God, when I get my hands on the guy in IT that caused this decryption error to happen, I'm gonna... just right to the moon, man. Right to the moon.
Confirm pre-service history.
No, not spacer or colonist. Our Shepard was born on Earth. And I will get into more of her story there in just a little bit, but first thing you need to know, she was born on Earth and escaped the gang life in the megatropolises of Earth by enlisting with the Alliance military on her 18th birthday.
Confirm psychological profile.
Psychologically, well, she is a sole survivor. She was in a mission that put her in an extreme circumstance, killed off the rest of her unit. She's the only one who lived to tell the tale. Again, we'll get more into that as we go along here.
Confirm military specialization.
In terms of the military specialization, I am actually going to be playing for this playthrough a Sentinel because, well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I was recommended Sentinel when I first played the game because it was by one of the people that I know on Twitter, but I actually ended up choosing Infiltrator for my first playthrough. So Sentinel seemed like the logical choice next because I hadn't tried it yet. Excuse me. And then, in the update video that I revealed that Mass Effect was going to be my next playthrough, I was actually recommended Sentinel by another person that I know. So I guess I made the right choice. This was the class I was going to play all along. So I guess we're thinking on the same brain wave, you know what I mean? But Sentinels are biotics and tech experts. If you don't know what biotics are, don't worry. We'll get more into all of this stuff later. The game does has plenty of opportunities to explain what all the different things are in this game. But just basically know that I'm using a mix of all the different abilities in the game rather than being focused solely on gun-based combat. The Sentinel is not very good at gun-based combat, but they make up for it because they have so many different abilities. And hopefully we'll get to use a whole bunch of them all through the combat of this game.
Confirm facial identification.
And that is not what our shepherd looks like. So I will change the appearance, and I'm going to speed this part up because it's going to take a while. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I want Shepherd to be shown off as a character. Maybe delve a little bit into her history as well. So I'm going to do the appearance, and then I will be right back. So who exactly is Vanessa Shepherd? This is going to be a role-play playthrough, so I'm going to be trying to get into character with the way that she would see the world, the way that she would make her decisions, and all of that sort of stuff. But the thing about this is that most people who are doing role-play playthroughs at this point would take some time to kind of flesh out the backstory of their character, give you some reasons that you would want to be able to get behind them, and that sort of stuff. I want to take it in a little bit of a different direction because I have to do things a different way because that's just how I do things. So I apologize for anyone who may be looking for, a lot of backstory right now, or, for me to flesh out the character before we start. I want that to be organic. I want it to be spread out relatively thinly over the course of the entire game. Probably the entire trilogy by the time we get done with it, because there are certain events in Vanessa's history that I have researched and thought up in her timeline that I don't want to reveal until the likes of even Mass Effect 2 or 3, because they're not important to the story otherwise. So I want to make it organic. I want to make her a character that you learn over time, a character whose backstory becomes more clear the more dialogue that you have with other characters in the story, because it kind of gives you hints at who she was before. And if that doesn't make it clear enough, if I feel like I'm not making her character bio, I guess, clear enough for everybody to see, or if you guys feel like I should flesh something out that I said in reference to her backstory, just let me know in the comments if you think that I should flesh it out. And what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to make little log videos for her where basically she has a monologue for a few minutes, probably won't be more than 5 or 6 minutes most of the time, just talking about things that have happened to her in her past and making them clear for everybody. So, I'll determine whether I want to do that or not, but if you guys feel like there's something that was unclear and you're like, oh, she said this when she was talking to this person, what did you mean by that? I'll try to flesh it out for you, if I don't plan on fleshing it out in other conversations later. But I will give you a little bit of information about her to get started. Vanessa was born on April 11th, 2154, and she was born in Victoria, the capital city of British Columbia, Canada. Like I said, she was earthborn, so she was an orphan. She never knew her parents, and she grew up in an orphanage. And because she was being passed around the province so much, because she was being moved into orphanages and stuff like that when she was really, really little, she was identified as a biotic really early on in her life. She didn't receive any implants for her biotic abilities until she was at puberty, but she was identified as a biotic really early on. They did a lot of tests to make sure that this was the truth, and that being on her record kind of deterred parents who would have otherwise thought about adopting her from actually adopting her, because fundamentally humans still, to this day at 2183, when the story begins, have a problem with biotics and understanding them. It makes it difficult for people who are living with biotics to... It kind of makes them feel like they have a terminal illness, but she lived with that for quite a while, and it was tough. I won't say that her early childhood life was comfortable, because it was far from it. But when she got a little older, she found a group that she could run with. They weren't a part of the orphanage. As a matter of fact, she ran with them mostly in Vancouver, which is just across the bay from there, from Victoria. But they offered her a support group that she really didn't have previously, and so she ran with them. She started to trust them. They started to trust her, and eventually she feels like they kind of accepted her not just as a biotic, but also as a real person, which was something that she hadn't received previously either. So she ran with them for quite a few years. There was an event that occurred when she was about 14 years old. She was involved in an accident, and a friend of hers nearly died in this accident, and This kind of created tension between her and the group because this accident wouldn't have happened if she hadn't taken the group's advice. So that created a little tension, and when she was 16, she finally decided, you know, enough is enough. We've ran with each other for long enough. I'm going to do my own thing. So she actually moved to the state of Washington, and she stayed there for a couple of years. She enlisted in a pre-service program with the Alliance when she was 17 because she didn't really have anywhere to go. She was kind of essentially homeless at that point, and she didn't want to go back to British Columbia because she felt like there was kind of some bad blood between her and the group. So she enlisted in a pre-service program when she was 17, took a year of pre-service training, and then on her 18th birthday enlisted with the Alliance military. And she's been with them ever since. She has earned a pretty decently, how can I put this? She's earned a reputation. She's earned a name for herself. Although the thing that people recognize her for most is the Akuz incident, which we will get into with her profile timeline, but essentially it was that against all odds mission that I was talking about in her sole survivor profile. And she lost her entire unit that day. It's not something that she actively attempts to remember. As a matter of fact, she actively tries to suppress it the best that she can, but it comes up in conversation a lot, and so she's kind of become not desensitized to it. I don't want to say that because it still bothers her, but it has shaded her opinion on the universe and how it works. Now, personality-wise, because that's basically all I can really give you about character background, Vanessa is... Let's see, how much can I tell you? I want most of her basic personality traits to come up in conversation, so I don't want to tell you too much, but she understands the value of a person's life, or even an alien's life, even though she has relatively no experience with, well, relatively little experience with different species that are all across the galaxy. She knows the value of a life, and you will see, probably for the most part in her conversation, she will go out of her way, almost to a fault, to attempt to make sure that civilians are safe and keep innocent lives off the table. So that is a big part of how she has coped with the loss of life, or the near loss of life, that she's seen over the course of her lifetime. And the other thing is that she runs what the Alliance might call a loose ship. The saying "run a tight ship" kind of means you run things by the book, you do things on the record and all of that sort of stuff. She doesn't necessarily do things that way. She is pretty no-nonsense. She doesn't really take crap from anybody, but she attempts to not just treat her crew members as crew members, she attempts to treat them with respect, the respect that she feels that they deserve, and most of the time, as long as they are willing, she will try to accept them as friends, because that's how she was brought up. You know, her upbringing, the group that she ran with, if you weren't friends with the person, then you're kind of screwed, because, like, you have to live essentially with them all the time. You're all a tight-knit group, and if you don't, you know, live with one another, especially in Canada, it gets pretty cold up there in the winter. It's hard to, you know, huddle up next to somebody for warmth when it's really cold out and you don't have any form of heat other than other people's body heat, when you really don't like the person, you know. So she learned early on that you make friends with people that you are going to be with for long periods of time, and she tries to do that with her crew as well. So you'll see that over the course of the playthrough.
Profile reconstruction.
But I think that's all I can really say about Vanessa. I can't really give too much else away. Like I said, I want it to be more organic.
Identification confirmed.
When I reveal who exactly she is. But enough about her, at least for now. Let's actually get into the opening cutscene and get this playthrough started.
Well, what about Shepard? Earthborn, but no record of her family.
Doesn't have one. She was raised on the streets, learned to look out for herself.
She saw her whole unit die on Akuz. She could have some serious emotional scars.
Every soldier has scars. Shepard's a survivor.
Is that the kind of person we want protecting the galaxy?
That's the only kind of person who can protect the galaxy.
I'll make the call.
In the year 2148, explorers on Mars discovered the remains of an ancient spacefaring civilization. In the decades that followed, these mysterious artifacts revealed startling new technologies, enabling travel to the furthest stars. The basis for this incredible technology was a force that controlled the very fabric of space and time. They called it the greatest discovery in human history. The civilizations of the galaxy call it mass effect.
The Arcturus Prime relay is in range. Initiating transmission sequence.
Commander?
We are connected. Calculating transit mass and destination. The relay is hot. Acquiring approach vector. All stations secure for transit. Board is green. Approach run has begun. Hitting the relay in 3, 2, 1.
Thrusters, check. Navigation, check. Internal emissions sync engaged. All systems online. Drift, just under 1500K.
1500 is good. Your captain will be pleased.
I hate that guy.
Nihilus gave you a compliment, so you hate him.
You remember to zip up your jumpsuit on the way out of the bathroom? That's good. I just jumped us halfway across the galaxy and hit a target the size of a pinhead, so that's incredible. Besides, Spectres are trouble. I don't like having them on board. Call me paranoid.
You're paranoid. The Council helped fund this project. They have a right to send someone to keep an eye on their investment.
Yeah, that is the official story. But only an idiot believes the official story.
They don't send Spectres on shakedown runs.
So there's more going on here than the captain's letting on.
Joker, status report.
Just cleared the mass relay, Captain. Stealth systems engaged. Everything looks solid.
Good. Find a comm buoy and link us into the network. I want mission reports relayed back to Alliance brass before we reach Eden Prime.
Aye, aye, Captain. Better brace yourself, sir. I think Nihilus is headed your way.
He's already here, Lieutenant. Tell Commander Shepard to meet me in the comm room for a debriefing.
You get that, Commander?
I'm on my way.
Is it me or does the captain always sound a little pissed off?
Only when he's talking to you, Joker.
Alright, so here we are on board the Alliance ship Normandy. First thing I'm going to do, is level up because they actually give you 3 points right out of the gate to use, and I don't want to forget. You will see me level up Sentinel a lot at the beginning because I want to get my passive skill up, at least for Shepard, probably for the other characters that you get too, but at the very least for Shepard I want to get all the way to Marksman as quickly as possible because it makes combat a lot easier when my powers run out, but yeah, that's how that's going to go. What else do I want to use these points on? Probably Barrier and First Aid, so that I can get all the abilities that I can get at this point. I will probably be leveling Decryption and Electronics a lot in the beginning, just so that way I can use them. And if you've played this game before, you know why I would want to level them up a lot. But we'll get into that as we go here. But let's actually check the codex real quick. I think, yeah, here it is, okay. The personal history summary here, I'm going to use to supplement Vanessa's actual backstory, but the rest of the codex entries I'm going to save for specific episodes, and I will get into more about how those are actually going to be done when we get to that episode, but for now we're going to actually read this codex entry, which talks about our personal history summary. So you were born on Earth, or Vanessa was, but she never knew her parents. A child of the streets, she learned to live by her wits and guts, surviving in the hidden underbelly of the megatropolises of humanity's homeworld, Earth. Eager to find a better life, she joined the Alliance military when she came of age. She volunteered for an expedition to Akuz, a lush world on the outskirts of Alliance space that had suddenly dropped out of contact. Arriving on the surface, your patrol found the settlement intact, but no survivors. At nightfall, the Thresher Maws struck, mindless abominations of teeth and tentacles that rose up from beneath the earth. And there's actually a codex entry on them later, but we'll get into that when we actually get it, because I don't think we have it right now. Despite our obvious knowledge of them, we don't have it in our official records yet. Constant gunfire couldn't drown out the shrieks of your fellow soldiers as they were dragged down to a gruesome death. Mercilessly slaughtered, essentially. 50 Marines died on Akuz. You were the only one to make it back to the landing zone alive. A monument on the planet commemorates the massacre, a grim reminder of the price humanity must pay as they spread throughout the stars. And that has colored Shepard's opinion on colonies as well, and how quickly humanity has spread throughout the galaxy that they are now fully capable of spreading to, but we'll get into that when an NPC actually brings it up. For now, I have to get into character because we are about to start playing as Vanessa for real here. So, first things first, we have to go speak to Captain Anderson in the comm room. So that is what we are about to go do. I don't think anybody over here said anything.
He's a Spectre. They're always on a mission.
We're getting dragged right along with him.
Relax, Presley. You're gonna give yourself an ulcer.
I guess they're talking about our Spectre guest. I should probably talk to Presley just to make sure that he, see if he knows anything, because I think at this point Shepard kind of suspects that there's something else going on here as well. Otherwise she wouldn't have said, you don't send Spectres on shakedown runs, you know.
Congratulations, Commander. Looks like we had a smooth run. You heading down to see the captain?
Yeah, actually, I'm heading there right now.
I'm on my way to give him a status update right now.
With all due respect, ma'am, maybe he'll finally tell you what we're really doing out here.
I don't know if the question is, what do you mean? But like I said, I feel like Shepard suspects something is going on that is more than what she's been told. But it's nice to have a second opinion from our helmsman, all the way back there in the opening scene, and now from our navigator. We'll have a reason to bring it up if we talk to Captain Anderson about it. So what do you mean?
You think the Alliance brass is holding out on us?
If all we're supposed to do is test out the stealth system, why is Captain Anderson in charge? And then there's Nihilus. Spectres are elite operatives, top covert agents. Why send a Spectre, a Turian Spectre, on a shakedown run? It doesn't add up.
I guess that's true, but isn't there something special about the stealth systems on the Normandy? You'll have to forgive me, Presley. I've only been on board for a very short time before we went on this whole coronating run here. But I think there's something special about the stealth systems about the Normandy, right?
What do you know about the stealth systems?
I just know it masks our location from scans and sensors. Cutting-edge technology.
Yeah, there you go.
The Normandy's the only ship with this prototype drive. But why are we fully staffed? A skeleton crew would be cheaper. Less chance of security leaks, too. Plus, there's Nihilus. It's pretty obvious this shakedown run is just a cover.
Well, what do you mean a cover?
For what?
Damned if I know, Commander. We're out here on false pretenses. I'm not a fan of being left in the dark.
Okay, that's a good point. I mean, I suppose the Spectre could be here because the Council is trying to keep an eye on this cutting-edge technology in our stealth systems, but that doesn't explain why we're fully staffed, you know? Like, the Alliance should know about all of the ins and outs of the stealth system, so maybe the Captain has something to do with it?
Do you have a problem with the Captain?
No, man. But I can't figure out what he's doing here. Captain Anderson is one of the most decorated Special Forces officers in the service. If he melted down all his medals, he could make a life-size statue of himself. You don't send a soldier like that on a do-nothing mission. He's treating this shakedown run too seriously. Something big is going on.
I mean, I'm aware of the Captain's previous missions that he's been on. He's, like you said, one of the most decorated Special Forces units in the Alliance, but do you think this something big going on could have anything to do with our guest?
You don't trust Nihilus.
I don't like Turians in general. It runs in my family. My grandfather fought in the First Contact War, lost a lot of friends when the Turians hit us.
Aw, you gotta learn to let that stuff go, man.
That was 30 years ago. You can't blame Nihilus for that.
No, I guess not. But it still makes me nervous to have a Spectre on board, especially a Turian. We're an Alliance vessel, human military, but Nihilus doesn't answer to the captain like the rest of us. Spectres operate outside the normal chain of command. And they don't come along just to observe shakedown runs. Nihilus looks like he's expecting some heavy action. I don't like it.
Well, you gotta remember, Presley, this isn't just a human vessel. It was built jointly by humans and Turians, so maybe he's just along to see if their R&D department did their job. But either way, I see your point, and I'll make sure that I look into it when I go see the captain.
I'll see if I can get some answers when I see him.
Good luck, Commander.
Thanks, Presley. Alright, guess we better go see him after we talk to these people first.
That's crazy. The captain's in charge here. He wouldn't take orders from a Spectre.
Not his choice, Doc. Spectres don't answer to anyone. They can do whatever they want. Kill anyone who gets in their way.
You watch too many spy vids, Jenkins.
But it doesn't change the fact that apparently you guys are aware of the Spectre on board and possibly what he does, so maybe you can help me out a little bit.
What do you think, Commander? We won't be staying on Eden Prime too long, will we? I'm itching for some real action.
I sincerely hope you're kidding, Corporal. Your real action usually ends with me patching up crew members in the infirmary.
And you got to think about it too, Jenkins. This is the coronating run of the Normandy. We don't want to run into too much real action just yet.
You need to calm down, Corporal. A good soldier stays cool even under fire.
Sorry, Commander, but this waiting's killing me. I've never been on a mission like this before, not one with a Spectre on board.
Nah, it's not going to be any different than any other one.
Just treat this like every other assignment you've had and everything will work out.
Easy for you to say. You proved yourself on a cruise. Everybody knows what you can do. This is my big chance. I need to show the brass what I can do.
I mean, I appreciate the fact that you appreciate my heroism on a cruise, but you also know what else happened on a cruise, and comparing it to this situation, probably it isn't a good idea for you to try to, live up to that.
You're young, Corporal. You have a long career ahead of you. Don't do something stupid to mess it up.
Don't worry, ma'am. I'm not gonna screw this up.
Good. Questions for the both of you. First for you, Jenkins.
You're from Eden Prime, aren't you, Jenkins? What's it like?
It's very peaceful, Commander. They've been real careful with development, so you don't have any city noise or pollution. My parents lived on the outskirts of the colony. At night, I used to climb this big hill and stare across the fields back at the lights from the main settlement. It was gorgeous. But when I got older, I realized it was a little too calm and quiet for me. That's why I joined the Alliance. Even paradise gets boring after a while.
I'm sure it does. Staying in one place probably gets boring after a little while, but yeah, trying to get a sense of the kind of planet it is, because there has to be a reason why we're going there.
Any idea why Eden Prime was chosen as our destination?
Not really sure, Commander. Eden Prime's one of our most stable colonies. Good place to take the Normandy for a shakedown run, I guess. No real danger there. There's gotta be something else going on. We've got a Spectre on board. That's why I'm so wound up. I can't wait for the real mission to start.
Okay, well now we've got 4 opinions saying, hey, there's something else going on that we haven't been briefed on, so we should probably ask the captain what the hell's going on here before we go ahead. I think we'll start with the Spectres as in general. I'm trying to go like in a deductive top-down processing with these investigate options. Trying to go like from, if there's a chronological order to them in how they talked in the conversations, I want to go like earliest to latest, because that seems to give it the most natural talking pattern. So let's ask about the Spectres.
What do you know about the Spectres?
Only what I've heard. Spectre agents work directly for the Citadel Council. They usually work alone or in small groups. Spectres don't have any official power, though. Basically, they're a shadow organization with a mandate to preserve and protect galactic stability.
Protect it at any cost. Don't forget that part. Spectres operate above the law.
Well, above the law is a little... I mean, I know they answer to the Council, but...
How do you control agents with unlimited power?
I suppose the Council could revoke the Spectre status of an agent who got out of hand. At that point, Citadel Security Services would take over.
Those C-Sec grunts wouldn't stand a chance. The Spectres were 20 ordinary soldiers. The Spectres police themselves. An agent goes rogue, they send another agent to take him down. That's Spectre justice.
The Corporal's confusing romantic legends with reality, Commander.
I mean, I guess the unlimited power is a little bit dangerous, but Jenkins has a point. If they're worth 20 soldiers, that's, you know, quite a solid unit to invest in. Kind of makes me wonder.
Why don't we have any of our own people in there?
Spectres usually come from the Council races, like the Turians.
And we're not on the Council
We've
yet.
been trying to get a human accepted into their ranks for years now. So far, it hasn't happened.
Hey, Commander, you'd make a good Spectre. They're always getting dropped into impossible situations, forced to survive unbeatable odds. Just like you on a cruise.
Bringing up a cruise again, Jenkins. That's, not something I attempt to remember voluntarily.
I try not to think about Akuz.
Sorry, Commander. I didn't mean to offend you. I respect what you did there. We all do.
Let's not dwell on the past, Commander. Was there something else you needed?
Well, we have a Spectre on board, and given that he is such a powerful force, I guess, in the galaxy, it might be worth seeing if we can get any more information about him before we go and meet the captain. Because no doubt our Spectre guest is going to be there as well.
What can you tell me about Nihilus?
Turians are generally well respected by the other species. Their fleet has more patrols protecting Citadel space than any other. They don't always get on well with us, though. Some people find them too rigid. Others still blame them for the First Contact War. As for Nihilus, I haven't said more than 2 words to him. He usually only speaks to the captain.
I hope we get a chance to see him in action. I heard Nihilus took down an entire enemy platoon all by himself.
Well, that would, what's the word I'm looking for? Exonerate? Something like that. That would support the evidence that Spectres are worth 20 soldiers. Although 20 soldiers is still a fairly small amount to take out an entire enemy platoon. But, okay. Well, obviously something else is going on. We're going to have to talk to the captain about this whole thing, and then we're going to have to talk to Nihilus and see what he knows about this whole situation.
The captain's waiting for me.
Goodbye, Commander.
Thanks for the info.